everybody and welcome back to my booktube channel. My name's Leora Aileen and I talk on air about books, reading, writing and sometimes other stuff as well. And today I'm going to discuss my 2024 reading plans with you. I am very excited to get into this. I have some plans that really are just about my reading and the things I plan to read and sort of how I plan to read this year. And then there's some things that are about my reading, like sort of in relation to my YouTube channel as well. So I'm really excited to discuss that. And I'm just really happy to be back after my little holiday break. I had a great time, I really enjoyed myself and I enjoyed some time off as well. I hope you guys also had the most wonderful festive season if you celebrate. I'm vlogging again, I'm filming all these videos that I've planned and I'm just really excited to be back. I actually made a planning this year. I know, who is she? So during my holiday there were some videos that still came online which I thought was really good of myself. I was like, wow, look at her, she's put together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and enjoyed those videos, and let's just get into all my reading plans for 2024. Very surreal to say that, like it feels fake. There's no way it's 2024, right? My first point on the agenda is that I want to go to the library more often. As some of you may actually already know, I work for the Library of the Netherlands, which is where I live. I basically work for them as a freelancer, so I review books for them in their online library, so ebooks, I read them, I review them, and like my photos get posted on their Instagram. So I have a library subscription that comes with the job, which is really nice. And this is for all the libraries in the Netherlands because the library I work for is like the organization that owns all of them basically. And so there's a few beautiful libraries in my area that I can go to, and I've gone to them before and I've shared some on my YouTube channel as well. I believe I've made library hauls before. There's like one library in Schiedam that's absolutely stunning. It's got like a garden inside. It's actually crazy. It's so beautiful. Like I think I've shown it in a few vlogs, so I highly recommend you look at those because it's so pretty. But I really want to go there and just get some books, you know, and like browse around like the way I normally do with book shopping. And the library in Rotterdam is also stunning. Well, it's not to my personal taste, but it's a really big library with a great selection. And this thing kind of coincides with me just wanting to try and buy less books this year because I just own a lot of books. And of course it comes with being a booktuber, and it also comes with my job as a bookfluencer, you know, having to do a lot with books and receiving books sometimes as well, which I'm really grateful for. But I do notice I just own a lot of books and I read a lot of books as well. But I also buy a lot of books, and I just feel like it would be great if I try to read more of the books I currently already own for a little bit, and I just try to not buy as many books because I also don't need it. And I think the library is a great way for me to motivate myself if I do want to get like that new book feeling, to just go out there and read those books because I have the subscription anyway and I love going to the library. It's just like such a fun experience. One of my best friends also recently got a library subscription, so we could do like library dates. So I'm excited about that. Maybe I can do like a little video like go on a library date with me and my best friend. I think that will be so cute. So yeah. So what kind of coincides with this is that I'm currently doing Dry Book January, which is a horrible title. It sounds as if I'm only reading really dry, boring books in January, but that's not what I mean. I'm calling it this because one of my friends is doing Dry January, as in they're not drinking. I'm not doing that, but I'm not buying any books in January. So this is my Dry Book January. I should come up with a different name, but I don't know a different name and I think it's funny, so whatever. Don't mind me. When I said this yesterday to one of my friends, they were also like, what do you mean? Are you only reading really boring books? And I'm not even only reading dry books because I drop my books in the bath a lot of the time. So, I mean, they're wet. Sorry. If you want good jokes, you should watch a different channel. So right now it's like the 12th or 11th of January, I think. And I haven't bought any books, so I'm doing really well. And I even went on a date to the bookstore and I still didn't buy any books. So go me. It was difficult though. There were lots of books I wanted to get. But like there's even some books I still need to haul on this channel. So, you know, there's plenty of books. I need to stop buying books. So my next thing is a little bit about the channel, but also a little bit about me and my reading tastes. I really want to try doing themed reading vlogs. I've said this before and I've made a few before as well. And this year I want to make a few again because I really enjoyed doing those. And I think it's also a great way to try like a new genre or a new sort of stream of books or like a new thing that's popular and see if I personally like it. And I think it would also be a fun way to spice up my reading vlogs a little bit, even though I know lots of you already love them the way they are. And I'm like so grateful. Like you guys always leave the cutest comments on my vlogs and I love vlogging and like making these cozy images of my daily life, so I do really enjoy that. But I think the themed part would just lend itself to me really well to discover new things in books. So something that I really want to try is a reading vlog of romantasy, and I need to figure out like what is good romantasy, and I need to find a few books like within the romantasy genre that I want to try. But I just feel like romantasy, I mean, I primarily read fantasy and I love romance, so I feel like that should work and I should find books in there that I love. So maybe I'll just try and see like what are the most popular ones and try those, or if you guys have any recommendations, you can always let me know. I know that this is probably not going to be so well received because it's not as popular, but I really want to do one on time travel books because I love time travel. So I'd love to do like a themed time travel reading vlog as well. And another idea that I've had for the longest time is like dressing and then reading in different aesthetics. So like dressing dark academia and reading dark academia, reading 70s books and dressing really 70s, reading a fairy book and dressing up like a fairy all week. I don't know, I think like those are really fun ideas and I would love to try some of those this year, but of course I don't know which ones I'm going to get to, but I do think the themed reading vlogs thing could be really fun. Another thing this year, I really want to get back on track with the audiobooks. I've not listened to as many audiobooks last year as I've done in previous years, and I love the act of listening to something, consuming a story, and then doing something else on the side, like illustrating, or maybe puzzling. I've bought a puzzle, so I'm trying to get into puzzling. I think like the audiobooking and puzzling thing could be really nice, and because so much of my hobbies have turned into my job, like with illustration and then also reading, you know, I think it could be nice to have something on the side that's not related to art or books. So I know that audiobooks are books obviously, but I mean like puzzling is something that's completely aside from the rest of my job next to like my sports hobbies. So I think that could be nice. And Scribd has recently changed to Everand, which is the app I use. And I really love Everand. They have so many audiobooks, like literally whenever I want to listen to something, I look it up and it's always on there, which is really nice because I've tried different apps as well, but I feel like this one just has a lot of the books I really enjoy. And what I also really like about Everand is that I'm always able to find like underrated stuff on there. So like cozy fantasy that I've never seen before. They have a really good algorithm in my opinion as well. So like recently I read these cozy queer forest god novellas that I otherwise would have never found, and I feel like they really spiced up my Everand algorithm as well, because now on like my recommended page there's so many cozy fantasy novellas, and that's like exactly what I was looking for. So I really love Everand. If you guys want to check it out as well, this is not sponsored, but every time you click the link I get a free month as well. So just letting you guys know, but I have a link in my description, and if you click that you get 60 days of free Everand. And after that you can keep the subscription or get rid of it. But I personally really enjoy it, and you know, so I recommend you to check it out because sometimes I get questions as well of people being like, where do you listen to your audiobooks? So that's where I do that. And if I listen to Dutch audiobooks, because I am Dutch. Hallo, Nederlands, al heel de tijd. Ik weet nu al, ik ga comments krijgen van mensen die zo zijn van, ik kijk je al 3 jaar en ik wist het niet. That always happens and I think it's really funny. Anyway, if I listen to Dutch audiobooks, I usually use my Dutch library subscription, so yeah. And an audiobook that I really want to listen to this year is Bookshops and Bone Dust. I'm so excited this finally came out. As you all know, I was obsessed with Legends and Lattes, and it really was like the start of this era of lots of cozy fantasy. And I think Legends and Lattes was so good as an audiobook, especially for me, because it's like so low-key. Like, it's not that nothing happens, but kind of nothing happens, you know. It's like just they're running a cozy shop in a fantasy world, and it's like they're drinking coffee, you know. It was just vibes, and I feel like Bookshops and Bone Dust will be vibes as well, and that's what I love in my audiobooks, just vibes. So I really want to get back into the audiobooks. So another thing I would like to do more in 2024, I would like to stop being so difficult about how long or short books are and just read them if I feel like reading them. I feel like very often I want to pick up a book and I'm like, oh, but it's 700 pages, and like, oh, that's a lot of pages and that's a big commitment, and then I don't read it. And I feel like another sort of similar thing happens when the book is really short, when it's like a novella of like 80 pages. I tend to be like, oh, but you know, it's so short. I don't know, people will think I only read short books. I don't know, a weird thing is happening in my brain, and then I don't read them. So this year, I want to stop that behaviour and just read whatever I feel like. So there's like a few books that are really short that I really want to check out this year. It's mostly Tor.com originals, but I feel like Tor.com originals always have like such interesting concepts, and because they are novellas, you're able to like dip in and out really quickly, and because I read them on Everand, I, you know, don't have to pay separately for each book as well, and each like short story turned into a novella, so that's really nice. So one of those titles that I really like to read this year is The Little Witch by M. Rickert, which was described on Goodreads as cozy horror, which I love cozy horror. It's very unsettling and it's very horror, but then It's like terrifying, you know, but at the same time, it's also like, oh, we're snuggled up and having such a cozy old time. So I'm hoping this book can also do that for me. It's a Halloween read and I love Halloween. So every Halloween, this elderly lady hands out candy to all these children and there's always this one little girl dressed up as a witch. They come by the house every time, year after year, and this little trick-or-treater does not seem to be growing up or getting any older, and the old woman and this little witch develop a really cute relationship, but that relationship might turn deadly because something is going on. So that sounds really interesting and I would love to pick this one up, even though it's really short, but you know, it's a good thing as well because that leaves me more time for the really long books that I'll talk about in a little bit. Another short book that I want to check out, which I found in the gay fiction section, is Of the Wild by E. Wampheim, which is about Eris, who is a shapeshifter. Oh my god, I'm really excited. This is another trope that I really enjoy. So they steal children from unloving homes and they bring them to this deep grove under the woods where they raise them as their own, and these children get infused with weird forest magic and turn almost more fae-like than human, with like spores and plants growing out of them, and it just sounds really interesting and like something I would love to read. Now let's talk about some of the most intimidating books on my TBR that I also want to stop putting off just because they're really big. And the first one is, as you can see, a very hefty book. You could kill somebody with this. Well, I mean, that would be difficult, but it's definitely a brick of a book. This is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I've heard so many good things about this. So many people love it, and it sounds like something that's right up my alley because I love magical bureaucracy. I just love like sort of the juxtaposition of that, and I feel like that is something that's definitely happening in this book. So this is a historical fantasy novel, and it's set in the 1800s. Let me read a little bit of the back to you. England is beleaguered by the Long War with Napoleon, and centuries have passed since practical magicians faded into the nation's past. But scholars of this glorious history discover that one remains, the reclusive Mr. Norrell, whose displays of magic send a thrill through the country. Proceeding to London, he raises a beautiful one from the dead, and summons an army of ghostly ships to terrify the French. Yet the cautious, fussy Norrell is challenged by the emergence of another magician, the brilliant novice, Jonathan Strange. Young, handsome and daring, Strange is the very antithesis of Norrell. So begins a dangerous battle between these two great men, which overwhelms that between England and France. And their own obsessions and secret dabblings with the dark arts are going to cause more trouble than they can imagine. And then this is what really drew me in. This is a blurb provided by Elle. Full of spells, bad weather, statues that talk, haunted ballrooms, and sinister gentlemen with thistledown hair. Be enchanted. And I was like, yes, enchant me. That sounds really fun. I just love when there's ballrooms. Funny, moving, scary, otherworldly, practical, and magical. Neil Gaiman! Okay, this just has to be good, right? If this is bad, then why is Neil Gaiman lying to me? Then this is a book that's been on the TBR for a long time. I finally found it. This is Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb of the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I've read book 1 and 2 and I only still need to read book 3. This is one of my favourite fantasy series. It's just so intricate and beautiful, and you follow all these families that are in the seas, there's dragons, there's magical ships, there's family lines, family history. If you love fantasy that has many storylines and many different characters that you follow and you're really attached to, then I highly recommend these. They're just so good. And the way Robin Hobb weaves a world that feels so real and so believable and so magical, and then sort of puts all these characters in there that you get really attached to, and all the storylines weave together beautifully and sort of come together and go apart, and it's just, oh my god, so well done. And there's pirates in these as well, many pirates. And I finally found this edition of the book. I wanted this edition specifically because I have the first two in this edition as well, but it's like a very difficult to find Dutch edition. So I'm very pleased I found it, and I'm very excited to finally read this one, even though it's so big. And I don't remember a lot about the first two books, but I'll just find a synopsis and I'll go for it. So those were some of my reading plans for 2024. I'm really excited to read all these books and get back into the reading and try all these new things that I've thought up for myself. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any specific reading plans, any things you want to try this year. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My web shop with my art that I sell online is open again as well. So if you want to get yourself a cozy bookstore tote or like a cute, beautiful gold foil bookmark or anything like that, you can check out my shop. It's leoraaileen.com, and I always really appreciate all your support. If you don't know what to comment in the comments down below, leave behind a nice sparkly emoji because we're getting back into the new year with a little sparkle. And yeah, I'll see all of you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and being here. I hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you soon. Bye!